Namaste. These are really anxious times. And normally, as human beings, we tend to have anxiety around certain things. But what's happened during pandemic is that it's brought up all of our anxieties, and we are living collectively as anxious people. In today's video, we're going to talk about ways and practical tools to transform and to heal anxiety and live from your truest self. My name is Ariela Halevi, and I'm the co-founder of Soul Centered, a spiritual center for meaning, healing, and purpose. I work with people to help heal them and release them from core wounds, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So let's talk about anxiety today because it is so prominent in our society, in our world. Basically, society and you in general in your personal life, we're dealing with a lot of loss. And right now, many of us are feeling that loss and that struggle. We are super uncomfortable with plans for our future. We don't even know what we're doing for Thanksgiving, which is 3 weeks away. We have no idea what our future looks like, if our kids will be continuing in school, if there will be a vaccine, which it sounds like there will be. But in general, when will this all happen? When can we hug again? When can we return to normal? There's a lot of fear coming up because what's happening, which we've talked about last week, because last week was anxiety part 1. So we really dove into what is anxiety. So what's happening is that we have underlying anxiety coming up in addition to what's going on in our world. So this is causing a lot of fear, collective fear. But what can we do right now to feel better? Well, we have 2 choices. The first one is that we can numb out, right? We can numb and use things outside of ourselves that are possibly destructive to help us feel better in the moment. Not always the best choice. We can also realign with our spiritual guidance. During this difficult time, it's important for you to remember that you are not alone. And this is what spiritual alignment is. So basically, we have these 2 paths that we can take. We're going to talk today about the path of spiritual alignment and how that can release your anxiety for and in this pandemic period of time, but also in your real life. Because once pandemic ends, we're going to have to pick up the pieces of our life, and we're going to have to realize that there's more to be healed and uncovered. So what do we do with our anxiety? We're going to talk about 3 key things that you can do to help heal your anxiety and your stress. Number 1 is sit and pause. Now it sounds so easy, but my invitation to you, and we've talked about this in other videos that I've given you, is to release your busyness and stop running. We are a busy society. Before pandemic and even during pandemic, in order to deal with some of this heaviness that we have in our lives, we end up running. We end up going outside of ourselves. We are a crazy busy society. We can't make decisions for our highest good when we're in this busyness place, which makes us more impulsive and helps us to feel more anxious. And so it's kind of like being on a hamster wheel and never getting off. You feel that anxiety, you start running and becoming more busy from it. And then you feel impulsive, and then you feel out of alignment, and you feel more anxious. So pausing is allowing us to take a sacred pause, right? So pausing in our lives allows us to find the divine timing in everything. When we are anxious, we want our answers now. I know I'm the same way. Just today, I was feeling anxious about something at home, and instead of pausing, I ran into it and tried to make a decision fast and furious, and it always backfires for me. And so the invitation is to pause, and finding that sacred pause allows us to find that we are not alone. There is divine timing in everything we do. And when we let go and let God or the divine or the spirit in, then we can take a deep breath and allow ourselves to become unbusy, to take a sacred rest, and to pull back a little bit in order to find your divine timing. I see it as this. Here's an example. So I was trying to make a decision about something with work, and I was trying to figure out which path to go, and it was making me anxious. And so I started to make a decision out of my anxiety because I wanted it done right then and there. I tend to be impatient. And what happened was it blew up in my face. It didn't work. Nothing flowed. I didn't get the answers I wanted. And what I recognize is that when I pull back and when I take a deep breath and when I can literally feel myself let go inside of my body, then I can allow space for the divine to come in. And I can make decisions that are based on alignment versus fear and panic and stress. So divine timing is that we need to release busy so that we allow the divine into our lives, so that we do the divine's will and not our will. Because I know that when I'm in charge, it usually gets a little messy. So we want to all, most of us, I would think, serve and do something greater and do something better. But in order to serve and to be efficient and effective in this world, we have to slow down in order to see what is front of us, what our next guided action step is. So this is the time, my friends. I know we hate being in this sacred pause. I know it doesn't always feel sacred. There are going to be other times, either illness, loss, grief, you name it, especially in midlife, life will bring it to you. So during this time of transition, there will be other times of your personal transitions when we are going to be invited to take a slower pace of life, when we are going to have to learn and teach ourselves new behaviors to slow down, to feel, and to recognize that feeling is healing. I think I'm a broken record because I always talk about this one thing. This is the next step in releasing anxiety. It's called healing. It is time to heal. It is time to heal our old wounds. It is time to heal our collective wounds. Feeling the stuff that's running underneath your anxiety that makes your nervous system buzz. It's the things that we avoid that need to be looked at and felt. We call this being an avoid dancer. When you're the avoid dancer, you are running circles around what's hurting you. If you have a limiting belief that keeps coming up and keeps presenting itself and you feel anxious about it, instead of doing circles around it, the invitation is to stop and feel and heal it. Because when you are able to face yourself and when you bring awareness to what needs to heal, you bring light to it. You can forgive yourself for it and you can love yourself in it. And that is when change happens. Pushing it down and staying busy is not going to help you release your anxiety. So people are now opening up and realizing that it's really important to do things that are not as meaningless. We have been a society that has run from the meaningful, and it's time as for you individually to run towards the meaningful, to make action, to take guided action on what you believe in and what is important to you. And that will help the nervous system calm down. So this leads us into the next step of healing your anxiety for good. It's finding your soul purpose. We are anxious when we live chronically outside of our alignment with spirit, with ourselves, with our souls. The message to release anxiety is to remember your soul purpose. We often feel anxious because we don't know who we are or why we are here. When life happens, whether it's illness, stress, COVID, grief, loss, divorce, you name it, and it brings up all of these things because we're not just dealing with the anxiety of the actual event. You're not just dealing with the grief of your mother. You're dealing with all the emotions underneath the grief of your mother. All the reasons why you loved her dearly and will miss her. All the emotions that you have about her and maybe struggled with. The pathway to soul purpose is to find what hurts underneath the stress and face it. So people are really hungry to know now why you are here. People are asking, we are all asking now, if life is this fragile, then what am I here to do? And it starts by giving. Giving of yourself and serving and releasing your selfishness, we all have it, is a really top way to release your anxiety and stress is to serve in your highest way. And this brings the last step, which is transformation. During a time of anxiety, when we have turmoil, we are being forced to look at ourselves, our surroundings, and shift our priorities. This, my friends, is a time of transformation, and there will be others. It's just a big collective transformation right now, which we haven't seen in a very long time. But we don't become butterflies right away. As you can see the butterfly behind me, I'm a fan of butterflies. We grow into butterflies, and then we transform. So we may be anxious because we're in the cocoon stage of our transformation. We're in the dark. We're in unknown territory. That makes us want to numb and check out, or run and be more busy. Focus more on the outside than on the inside. This is the exact time and reason why your anxiety is so high, because you're a cocoon and you haven't become the butterfly quite yet. We are not trusting in the divine timing of things when we are forcing our way out of the cocoon. Transformation happens and anxiety releases when we stay in alignment with the darkness and the cocoon-like stage we are in. This is the time to transform and become that butterfly, to come out of it, to stop, feel, heal, and serve. If it's anything that you can take away from this video today, those things that we are invited and challenged to do during this time: to stop, feel, heal, and to serve. Feel the fear and anxiety and do it anyway. Being there for others is a way to serve and get out of yourself. Anxiety is here as a messenger to teach us. It's a gift to sit in the darkness of the cocoon and grow into your beautiful butterfly. And that butterfly needs nourishment, growth, patience, and rest. It needs trust, and we need to breathe into it to grow. And we need to love ourselves. And this is how you release anxiety. So just drop any comments if you have any questions or comments, and feel free to join us on our next series of videos and tools. And one of those tools is called Own Your Power in the Afternoon of Life. Own Your Power is a free offering on our website, www.mysoulcentered.org, to help you go deeper into these tools to release anxiety and to help you live and feel empowered in your life. And so stay tuned for more videos and check out that website link. Namaste.